Willie D Live.
What's up, family? The government put forth an array of evidence and witnesses in the Diddy sex trafficking trial. The question is, did it make its case? I spoke with the highly knowledgeable attorney Dennis Sperling to answer that question, and he had some interesting comments. Check out what he had to say, leave your comments, and I'll come back with mine. Closing arguments are over. Is there anything at the last minute the prosecution can come back and say, oh yeah, by the way, Judge, we want to put this on the mind of the jurors? They
rested their case in chief, and the defense rested their case in chief. Very rarely, and I'm not saying it can't be done, but very rarely will the judge then open the case back up and allow more information to come in. As far as I know, this case is going on Monday. They're going to be deliberating, and I'm interested in the questions that the jury will ask the judge. They may ask to see more evidence. They may ask for clarification on jury charges, and this is going to let us know what's on the jury's mind or what questions they have. Okay. So it's just going to be interesting to find out. And remember, we need a unanimous verdict at this point, considering that the Supreme Court came back and reestablished that you need a unanimous verdict. So no more 11-1. It's got to go all. So we'll have to see what happens, Willie D.
What's your read on the jury? Any signs of leaning one way?
Well, the thing about juries is you don't get the jurors you want, you get the jurors that's left. You see? And so I don't know.
You heard that expression. Yeah, right.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know, brother. We'll have to read them. I was not in the courtroom. I didn't get a chance to get a read on each one of the jurors' expressions when information came up. But I mean, they heard enough. And here's what I found over the years. By the time you get to the closing arguments, the jurors have already made up their mind. They don't look, people do not leave their strongly held beliefs at the courthouse door. They come in there, all right? They feel how they feel about life and experiences. They may just see Diddy as a villain. And then you have other people in there who just see the government as a villain. And you have other people who say, you know what, this isn't they're infringing on his rights. I don't like this and I don't like the direction it's gonna go. You're not gonna change that. Now, we ask jurors to follow the law, but, when you get in that room and you have those conversations, at some point, somebody might hold out for long enough, but then they're like, you know what? It's Friday and it's 4:45. What do y'all need me to do so we can get out of here? You see what I mean? So, hey, man, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But whatever happens, this is going to set a precedent. And I think people across America who live alternative lifestyles or who have money and they can use that money to coerce people to do things. Even you could be a plumber. You could be a plumber and you might have some issues, man, the way this thing is going.
Yeah, this is what you do. You say you've been doing this for 25 years. And even before that, I'm sure you visited some courtrooms. So you've been in these courtroom situations for hundreds of times, if not thousands of times. Mm-hmm. Is there anything in the judge's behavior that made you look at him and say that he's probably going to, the verdict is probably going this way or that way?
Well, let me say, judges are supposed to be impartial, but they're still human beings. He's not unlike any other judge that I've been in front of. I was recently in front of a judge in a local state court, and I do my best to stay out of state court. I focus on federal court mostly, but I could swear up and down this guy he just got elected. I'm like, this guy's just a horrible, evil man. But, after I got a read on him, he's like, no, he just wants his case out of his court. That's what it is. So he's mean to everybody. Mm-hmm. And it may seem as though they're biased, but remember, the judge there's a clerk and another clerk and a person there who is recording everything. And those people want to leave at 5. And the judge knows them and he has to see them. He's extra sensitive to what the jury is dealing with. He sees some of them up there nodding, going to sleep. This man, a woman, is a politician first because they want to get reelected. And so they're conscious of everything that's going on in the courtroom. And their job is to basically act as a referee at that time and keep what they're supposed to be doing is making sure that we're not wasting the taxpayers' resources and keeping this as an orderly the deliberation so that we can get folks in and out. Okay. So sometimes you may read, as an advocate, you may read something wrong. That particular case, I end up getting my client $500,000. And it's like, well, thank you, Judge, for being mean to everybody, even if that included me. So, you know, again, I'm not going to hold now there are some judges who are just straight up ridiculous and biased. We can read their history books with those type of folks. But for the most part, most of these modern day judges are pretty, not all of them, but most of them are pretty middle of the road as far as how they operate, because there's a spotlight on you, and everybody knows.
And that's what I kind of saw out of this judge. He seemed like he was like kind of right there in the middle, and he kind of kept it going. He kept it pushing. It wasn't no like long delays. It was like in, out, boom, bam, boom. You know, considering all of that, could that be? Could the outcome of this trial, you know, have some effect on the way that high-profile clients and, you know, celebrities are held or dealt with in the future in terms of being indicted for crimes like this?
Well, here's the thing, man. A lot of these prosecutors are game hunting. They're big game hunting. They're in it for the they're in it for the prosecution. Now, I'm not saying P. Diddy is not guilty of something. If this was a domestic violence case, I would say guilty 100%, because based on the video footage that I saw, and of course, you know, I don't know, some people are saying it was altered or whatever, but what I saw a man in a towel pummeling a woman on the ground. I saw that. Now, I do understand that she was able to reach a settlement for upwards of $20 million. And if she's satisfied with it, fine. He's guilty of something, in my opinion. But the RICO charges, it's just overkill. Now, again, there was a time when we thought that our celebrities had some sort of, some sort of celebrity privilege. But now I think that prosecutors are of the opinion that we're just going to go game hunting. You see, and the bigger you are as a celebrity, if we can take you down, then we will. I had a law professor many years ago back in law school. She said these prosecutors pull up in their Ford Taurus, you know, with their little, you know, $100 briefcase, and here you come in your expensive German car, and you got a lot of money, you looking good. They're angry with you. Okay, so if they can put you down, if they can use the power of the state that they have behind them to arrest you, they will. You see, we got Willie D. He's a famous, world-renowned artist and podcaster, and they have none of that. You see, and so they're gonna go game hunting on you. So all you artists and entertainers out there, this is not the 1970s where you can, pop pills and snort this and smoke that. These people are looking at you. And so, you know, it seems like we have a changing dynamic in how prosecutors operate. I mean, I'm just saying, look at it. Why are we prosecuting some guy who hopped out of a car and ran 6 blocks to get away from a woman, and he still got convicted? Why is that? Why is it that we're putting an old man in jail who's almost 80 years old for allegedly giving a woman nothing more than some cough drops? You see, I mean, why are we doing that? Because they're big game hunting, in my opinion. This is what I see.
I want to go back to what you said about, in your opinion, he did something. Mm-hmm. And I think you said he's guilty of something. In most people's opinion, Diddy is guilty of something. Yeah. However, what the prosecution is alleging he's guilty of, he's not guilty of, as far as what they're trying to charge him with and convict him of. But do you think that, just like you and I think that he's guilty of something, that sentiment could roll over into a juror's decision, and the jurors say, you know what, he didn't do any of the stuff that they said. Maybe he didn't do any of the stuff that they're saying he did, but he beat up Cassie, so I'm voting guilty.
Yeah, he's guilty of immorality. But as far as a law that has been broken as listed under RICO, I don't see where there's a conspiracy. I don't see the RICO predicates necessary. Yeah, he's if I can curse, he's an asshole. Okay, that's what he is. He's an asshole. I think we can say that, but that we plenty of people like that out there. That doesn't mean the man should go to jail for the rest of his life.
Yeah. What's the risk of a mistrial or hung jury?
Well, hung jury, we can try it again. Mistrial is something that you can try it, but I don't think the judge is going to grant a motion for mistrial. At worst, you get a hung jury, and then you got to go back to round two. The only way he's out of this is if he's acquitted. And so, what will it happen? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Are there grounds for appeal? Invariably, in any criminal matter, there are always grounds for appeal. And when you have a man who's worth nearly $1 billion, then he's probably going to appeal. So they better dot all their I's and cross all their T's, because this could go on for years. Now, will he? I'm gonna just tell you, I didn't like the fact that they put the man in prison and he's been in jail for this time. I don't like that. I mean, I don't like that. And that let me know from the onset that this was political. And it had a lot to do with the attorney who was in charge of the Southern District at the time. And I think he was, like I said, he was trying to make a name for himself. And then they thought that, the Democrats were going to win and he was going to maintain his position. And then the Republicans won with the current President Trump. And he knew he was out of there, so he had to let it go. This is my theory. And now we're in a situation where they're left basically trying a case that they probably would have never brought in the first place.
Yeah, and you killing it, man. You are killing it. But what does sentencing realistically look like if Diddy is convicted?
Oh, he's going to jail for the rest of his life. How old is Diddy? 60 now? He's almost 60.
You don't think they give him 15?
Huh?
You don't think they give him 15 years? You think they'll go straight for life?
I think he's going to be there until he dies. I mean, the brother's almost 60 years old. The average black man lives to be 68. So
well, there's rumors that Trump is going to pardon Diddy if Diddy is convicted.
Well, you never know what a Trump could. That would be his authority to do that. I don't see how that would be politically advantageous for Donald Trump. Now, again, Trump pardons a lot of people for a lot of different reasons, but I can't see him pardoning him immediately. Maybe towards the end of his presidency. Maybe I don't see what. My studies and my assessment of Donald Trump is that he does what's beneficial for himself. Okay. And look, whoever you voted for, fine. But my assessment is that he does what's beneficial and what's convenient, whether you like him, whether you hate his guts, I don't care. I'm just looking at it. And that's not unlike any other president. But I don't see where this benefits President Trump to pardon P. Diddy at this particular juncture. And especially considering how heinous the crimes are and how Trump himself was, he had to go through his own sort of, I guess, I don't want to refer to it as any sort of sexual assault because he sued somebody for that. But President Trump had to deal with this. And so him pardoning P. Diddy would just give more ammunition to the Democrats to say, see, look at him. He's a despicable, horrible man. And he pardoned somebody who's just like him. So I don't see the benefit of that. Go ahead.
I don't see Trump giving a damn about what the Democrats think. He only cares about what his base thinks. He don't care nothing about what Democrats think. Let me ask you this. If Diddy does walk, do you think the public will see this as privilege, or do you think they would see it as justice? And does that matter in court?
My gosh, man, you are asking me these philosophical questions. Some people are gonna say it's privilege. Some people are gonna say he's an entertainer. He's rich. He has privilege. They're gonna rely on that same old thing. But man, I walk in the court all the time, and people who are dirt poor get second and third chances. I mean, I was in court yesterday, and there's a person who got charged with 21 counts. Okay, they got convicted of 5, and the judge let him walk this time. And this person is dirt poor. You see what I'm saying? Generally, and if you really want me to dig into it, I'll tell you. Let me tell you what's really going on. What's really going on, Willie D, is that jail is filled up. Okay, and there's a certain capacity in that jail. And the longer you hold these people in that jail, the more money it costs that county. And that county is like, look, we need to plea and get these people out of here. Okay. Whether we always talk about how many people go to jail, but the truth is we let a lot more people go because we don't have the capacity or the money to house these people. And this is why they put the prison industrial complex in private business. Like maybe somebody could make some money off this. The government can't continue to fund this. You see, and so they taking pleas. Oh, look, let's take a plea here. Pay us some money. That's why they're so serious about this fees. I committed a crime. Why am I paying $5,000 to the state? Because we need that money. We need to get that money out of you. You see what I'm saying? Right. And so in a situation like this, man, when you have somebody who is worth all this money and they got a bankroll and they're going to fight you, you don't necessarily even have, and I hate to say it, but we don't necessarily have a resource for it. This was not an easy kill. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll just have to see.
And there you have it. Dennis don't believe the government made its RICO case. That makes 2 Dennises because I don't believe the government made its RICO case either. Perhaps a domestic abuse case. I think that was well established. But RICO, an organized enterprise, with several people involved and being covert and making money and no, fam, no. I gotta call a strike and a ball a ball. I know some of y'all don't like Diddy and you really hate him. You want to see something happen to him. And I'm gonna tell you something, fam, straight up. If I was actually victimized by him in any manner, because there are a lot of people out there who say that, Diddy owed them money, right? He messed over them. So, I probably wouldn't give a damn one. No, I would give a damn one way or the other. I would want something tragic to happen. I need my money, man. But if I don't have a dog in the fight, I would just be more objective about it, and it's always sad, to me, to see one more black man get caught up in this criminal justice system, this criminal injustice system. In fact, this justice system is criminal. Yeah, fam, there are a lot of criminals who work within the judicial system. Yeah, family. I know it's hard for some of y'all. Some of y'all are just clueless about the corruption that goes on in the judicial system. You're absolutely clueless, from arrests in the streets to paperwork being filed, evidence being filed, or planted, the prosecutors omitting evidence, scaring people into testifying or not testifying. The judge with his implicit biases, and a lot of times they see that a person is innocent, but because they can convict him and put him in prison, they just do it just because they can. So much evidence is suppressed in these courtrooms all over America every single day. I don't know why people find it so hard to believe. If all you got to do is hop online and just do a quick search, about people being exonerated, cops lying, the prosecutors' inappropriate behavior, all that type of stuff, And a lot of it is criminal, but what they try to do is they try to identify it as unethical, right? Because it is a very, very thin line between criminal and unethical behavior. Oftentimes it is criminal, but they'll say it's unethical, and then they'll slap them on the wrist and then let them go about their business. But what say you, fam? Do you believe that the prosecution made its case for RICO? Give me a thumbs up if you say, yeah, man, they sure did. That's right, they did it, man. He got to go. Thumbs down if you say, nah, man, free Diddy. Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.